Scouting can really be that center point for families. It's an activity that is values-based. It is centered around teaching values to young people, instilling those values, and then allowing them to put those values into practice. And the more that the family is engaged, the more those values are reinforced. For me, Scouting was just always there. There was no way it was not going to be there for me. My family's legacy in Scouting goes back really to the founding of Scouting in this country. My grandfather on my mother's side was a member of the 1st Boy Scout troop in Wichita Falls, Texas, shortly after Scouting was founded. And we're a 3-generation Eagle Scout family, my father, myself, and my son. And
Dear Rex, as Chief Executive of ExxonMobil, former National President of the Boy Scouts, and as a father, please reach out to another father and Chief Executive, President Obama. If you call upon him, I truly believe he will answer the call, especially the call I propose. You both acknowledge that increasing CO2 emissions is deleterious, but refuse to speak of the urgency to begin reducing emissions. You are strange bedfellows in this regard. For the sake of humanity, can the two of you agree to join forces and speak of urgency? You would still be strange bedfellows, but I believe you would be welcome heroes. In my June 30 letter, I wrote that you acknowledge the effect of CO2 emissions, as reported by the New York Times on July 14, 2009, and I quote, "We recognize that climate change is a serious issue," Mr. Tillerson said in a 2006 interview, pointing to a company report that acknowledged the link between consumption of fossil fuels and rising global temperatures. We recognize greenhouse gas emissions are one of the factors affecting climate change. In my July 2 letter, I referred to your June 27 admission, and I quote, "We grossly underestimated the capacity of both the rocks, the capacity of the technology. We underestimated just how effective that technology was going to be, and we also underestimated how rapidly the deployment of that technology would occur." Again, all in response to fairly high prices. I challenged you then, and I challenge you now with 2 simple questions. 1, what are the implications if you underestimate climate? And 2, is risking humanity responsible or moral? Please understand the downside for humanity leaves no choice but to change course. I believe you understand how the fossil fuels were formed over 350 million years, that we are extracting and burning them at a rate 1 million times faster than their creation, and that you fully understand that we are returning the planet to the conditions that prevailed 400 million years ago, when the atmospheric CO2 concentration was an order of magnitude greater, when 1, there was no life on the planet as we know it. 2, there was no ice anywhere. And 3, sea level was nearly 300 feet higher than today. We are rapidly returning to the CO2 concentration level when ice formed on Earth. Returning the planet to an ice-free state that does not support life is intolerable. I hope you feel that in your heart. I hope that feeling is as gut-wrenching for you as it is for me. Please accept my challenge to change the course away from carbon combustion. Please speak out to your refining colleagues and schedule the retirement of all production of fuel over the next 20 years, leaving only chemical, plastic, and building material production. We have the technology, economic incentive, and moral obligation to do it. Please implore President Obama, 1, to engage Mitt Romney and candidates from other parties in discussions how we will begin reducing CO2 emissions right away. Call upon Congress to draft truly effective legislation to enact a steadily increasing carbon fee with 100% dividend. Call it a rebate or a bonus, if you will, but 100% return of the money to legal citizens of the United States without offsets. And 3, lead the world in weaning humanity from fossil fuel combustion within the next 2 decades, with the intention of keeping the average global temperature increase less than 1.5 degrees C over pre-industrial. You have the moral authority, the moral obligation, to be the global leader on this. Sincerely yours, Doug Grant.